The sound is raw. It is not the deep, hollow moan of the wind coursing through the wreckage bridges, nor the percussive clatter of loose vertebrae in a rock slide. It is the sound of a mountain tearing itself apart. A shriek of stretched sinew and snapping bone echoes up from the chasm of the fallen, followed by a colossal impact that shudders through the bedrock, rattling the skulls they use for shelters. The people of the Bone Miners Carver clan spill from their homes, their faces pale under the grey sky. They stare at the abyss, their entire world, their archaeology of generations, now violated, for as long as memory serves. The sky-minus Titans, the great Quetzalcoatlus, have come here only to die. Their final, silent spirals from the heavens are a sacred tradition, the foundation of a culture built on scavenging divine remains. Their osteodontocratic technology, the very spear points, hide miners scrapers, and hut supports that define their existence as a gift from the dead gods. This one is not dead. Down in the mists, wedged between the fossilized pelvic girdle of one ancestor and the towering neck minus bones of another, a living god thrashes. Its one good wing, a leathery sail the size of a long hut, beats uselessly against ancient bone, sending splinters of god minus flesh and cascades of rock into the gloom. The other wing is a ruin, twisted at an obscene angle, the pneumatic bones shattered and jutting through hide. Its immense, toothless head, longer than a man, is tall and tipped with a cruel, caroteno-US beak, whips back and forth, emitting hoarse, agonized cries that are nothing like the divine silence they revere. This is not the majestic end of a cycle. This is a messy, profane, and terrifying accident for these early humans. It is the end of the world as they know it. The clan gathers at the precipice of observation, a flattened spur of rock jutting over the graveyard. Below, the injured titan rips at its own ruined limb in a frenzy of pain. Its cries scare the smaller scavengers, the chittering cynosaur topically back into the skeletal corpses. Ulrich, the lead hunter, grips his femur minus club, his knuckles white. The weapon, carved from a god's egg, feels impossibly small. It cannot climb, he states, his voice a low rasp. But the rains will wash its blood sent down to the lower caves. It will draw the deep-minded scrollers. No, the elder, her face a mask of wrinkled disbelief, traces a symbol of the spiral in the air. The cycle is broken. A god that does not know how to die is a curse. She looks at the faces around her, faces of a people whose every belief is now a thrashing, screaming beast trapped in their larder, their cathedral, their home. The survival question hangs unspoken in the cold air. Heavier than any stone, what does a clan do when its god becomes a monster? To leave it is to invite predators and slow starvation. To approach it is to face the beacon fury of a creature from the sky, a force of nature brought crashing to their level. The brutal truth of their prehistoric life with dinosaurs is that an injured predator is often the most dangerous. Days pass. The thrashing of the fallen god subsides into a low, guttural breathing that rasps through the chasm, a constant, sickly heartbeat for the clan. The smell of its blood and waste begins to creep up the bone minus paths. A foul miasma that clings to the fog. Mara convenes the elders within the great skull, the hollowed minus out cranium of a legendary titan whose eye socket serves as their council chamber's entrance. The debate is not whether to act, but how. Or reckon the hunters argue for a merciful death, a coordinated attack to pierce the beast's throat with their sharpest scapula or minus spears. It is a plan born of pragmatism, but Mara sees deeper. Its coming was a message, she insists, her voice echoing in the cavernous bone. To kill the messenger is to be deaf to the warning. For generations, we have lived on the surface of this mystery. We have harvested the gifts, but never asked why they are given. Her gaze settles on Ulrich, then on Elora, the clan's most nimble climber, and finally on Kale, her own apprentice. A party must descend, past the harvest ridges, past the vertebrae falls, to the bottom. The secret is not in the broken god above, but in the earth that called it. This is the core of their hominid history, not just reacting, but questioning the choices made. It is an act of communal foresight, A desperate gamble that knowledge is a more potent weapon than any sharpened bone. The descent begins at dawn. Ropes of braided sinew, tested 100 times, are their only link to the known world. Elara leads, her small form moving with practiced grace across a bridge of fossilized ribs, so vast that a man could lie flat between them. Orek follows, his powerful frame a stark contrast to the delicate, almost weightless structure of the pneumatic bones he climbs upon. Kale is last, his eyes scanning not just the path, but the ancient patterns in the bone. The way the lichen grows, searching for meaning. The familiar world of the upper chasm, a scaffold of whitened grey, recedes above them. They move down the colossal spine of a titan. Each vertebra step in a staircase built for giants. The fog thickens, muffling sound and swallowing the light. Down here, the air is cold and still, heavy with the scent of decay and damp earth. They are insects navigating the skeleton of a god, their journey a descent into the very marrow of their world's foundation. The scale of their surroundings is a constant, oppressive weight, a reminder of their own insignificance in this era of prehistoric life. It starts with a skittering sound from the mists below, a noise that does not belong. A small rock clatter rests down from a ledge far to their left. Orek freezes, his hand tightening on his club. They are not alone. Elara points with a quivering finger. Through a momentary thinning of the fog, they see it, a pair of them, perched on a distant clavicle. They are no bigger than wolves, lean and weary, covered in a downy coat of dark moss minus scarlet PYC, no fibers that makes them almost invisible against the ancient bone. Their eyes, intelligent and predatory, watch the parter's every move. These are the marrow-ghouls, the chasm's true natives. They have always been a nuisance on the upper ledges. But down here, in the domain, their patience is a weapon. They do not attack. They simply follow. Their silent passage through the fog a promise of the violence to come. The descent is no longer a spiritual quest. It has become a stalked retreat into darkness. The pursuit grows desperate. The marrow-ghouls, relentless shadows in the gloom, herd them downward. Elara finds a path down a column of fused vertebrae, the bones thick with a strange, warm condensation. The air itself changes, growing thick with the sulphurous breath of the deep earth. They are at the bottom. It is not the hallowed ground of their legends. The chasm floor is a hell's cape of bubbling mud pots and fissures hissing with geothermal steam. The fog here is not the clean mist of the heights but a soupy, disorienting vapor that clings and suffocates. Countless skeletons, the oldest of their gods, lie half-moidus submerged in the mire, their colossal forms encrusted with yellow mineral deposits. This is no graveyard. It is a tomb created by the earth's own fever. The ghouls, emerging from the steam, finally attack. They are a slurry of claws and teeth, a coordinated pack moving with terrifying intelligence. The humans are back minus to minus back, their bone weapons seeming frail in this primordial arena. This is the raw material of anthropology, a primal dinosaur fight at the dawn of human ancestors. Orek roars, swinging his club in a wide arc that sends one ghoul screeching back, its ribs audibly cracking. But another lunges at Kale, who stumbles backward, his foot sinking into the hot mud near a roaring steam vent. The heat is scalding. The gas he inhales makes his head spin, the world tilting in a nauseating wave. And in that moment of vertigo, choking on the planet's exhalation, he understands. He sees it all a sky minus titan, high above, its magnificent wings carrying it across the land. It flies over the chasm, and the invisible plumes of geothermal gas rise to meet it. The creature's sensitive, avian respiratory system is poisoned. Its equilibrium, the very core of its ability to fly, is shattered. It becomes dizzy, confused. It begins to spiral, not in reverence, but in a panicked, futile attempt to regain control. The sacred fall is not a pilgrimage, it is a crash. The ghouls close in on him, but Kale is staring past them, his eyes wide with a terrible, liberating clarity. It's the air, he screams, his voice cracking. The ground poisons the sky. They are not gods. They are falling. The truth hits Archaeology with the force of a physical blow. Their entire prehistory has been a misinterpretation. The gods are just animals, victims of a geological trap. But with this shattering comes power. Or exerted towards a fissure. The steam, he bellows. As the next ghoul leaps, she kicks a section of crumbling mineral Midas-crusted bone, and a superheated jet of vapor erupts. The creature shrieks, blinded and scalded, retreating into the fog. They are no longer fighting monsters in a holy place. They are using the mechanics of their world to survive. They are not worshippers. They are thinkers. They fight their way back to the vertebral column, using the unpredictable vents as weapons. The ghouls fear the scalding water now their shield. They begin the long climb up, leaving the bones and the mud and their faith behind. When they finally emerge onto the harvest ledges, gasping in the clean air, they look down at the injured Quetzalcoatlus. It is no longer a divine curse. It is data. It is the first clue in a new, brutal science of survival. The first entry in a new chronicle written not by gods, but by Homo sapiens. The bone miners carvers did not kill their fallen god. They watched it, studied it, and when it finally succumbed to its injuries, they harvested it with a new kind of reverence, not for a deity, but for the profound, dangerous knowledge it represented. They became masters of the chasm's lethal secret. They learned to read the wind, to smell the sulfur before a new plume rose, and to predict the fall of a sky minus item with terrifying accuracy. The graveyard was no longer a place of worship, but the most dangerous and valuable hunting ground in their world. This intellectual leap, born from the terror of a broken myth, was the fulcrum upon which their future turned. This small clan, armed with a truth wrested from the very bones of their dead god, had done more than survive. They had adapted a force of nature to their own will. Their story is a powerful echo in the bedrock of our own instincts, a testament to the moment our distant ancestors stopped looking to the heavens for answers and began finding them in the harsh, empirical realities of the world around them. What greater leap has our species ever made than the one from seeing a falling god to understanding the principles of atmospheric chemistry and gravity? This has been an alternate prehistory survival chronicle, and the Earth holds more secrets than those that poison the sky.